Okay, welcome back. So let's look at muscles of the arm. So the muscles of the arm, I call them B, B, C, T. So these three are muscles of anterior compartment, while this one is muscle of posterior compartment. So let's say, for example, this is a cross section of the arm. Then this is the humerus. Then this is deep fascia of the arm. That is brachial fascia. You know the arm is also called brachial. So this is the deep fascia. So the deep fascia sends two partition. So this partition is two septors that divide the arm into two compartments. So this is let's say toward this side is medial and then toward this side is lateral. So you see that this is medial intermuscular septum. Then this one is what? Lateral intermuscular septum. And this is anterior compartment. This is what? Posterior compartment. Okay, so let's look at each of these compartments. So let's start with the anterior compartment. So the anterior compartment is B, B, C. So let's start with B. That is biceps, brachialis, and coracobrachialis. So the biceps from the word bi has two heads, has a long head and short head. Okay, so the long head, if you come to origin, the long head and the short head originate from different places. Okay, so the long head originates from supraglenoid tubercle. Supraglenoid tubercle of the scapula. So you know the glenoid cavity. That is, let's say this is glenoid cavity. So this upper part is called supraglenoid tubercle. There's a tubercle above the glenoid cavity. Here there is a tubercle below. This one below is infraglenoid. You see later that long head of triceps originates there. Then this guy originates from tip of coracoid process. Remember the three muscles from the coracoid process, BCP. Okay. Then for insertion, these two tendons, these two muscles unite, these two heads unite to form a common tendon, which inserts at the radial tuberosity. Radial tuberosity. Then nerve supply is musculocutaneous nerve. You should know all the BBC muscles are musculocutaneous, except this brachial that also have radial nerve in addition. Okay, then what is the next thing? Is action. So this guy is the main supinator of the elbow. Supinator of the elbow. And also it helps in flexion of the elbow. Flexion of the elbow. It's just a minor flex of the elbow. The major flex of the elbow is brachialis. Okay, then action. Sorry, unique feature. Then please, in this insertion, you see that the at the medial aspect, so the tendon, let's say this bicep tendon, the medial aspect span, that is flattens. The medial aspect of the bicep tendon flattens to form that bicipital aponeurosis. Please, I forgot in the insertion. Bicipital aponeurosis. Bicipital aponeurosis. Then this bicipital aponeurosis inserts at the deep fascia of the elbow or deep fascia of the forearm, anyone. Inserts at the deep fascia of the elbow. So the two insertion is of this biceps to the radial tuberosity through bicep tendon and to the what? Deep fascia of the arm through bicipital aponeurosis. Nerve supply musculocutaneous nerve. Then action means supinator of the elbow and it helps is a weak flexor of the elbow. So we have a muscle called supinator. So we will normally say that what biceps is the main supinator is biceps, while the minor supinator is supinator. Then if you come to what pronator, the major pronator or the main pronator is pronator quadratus, the minor pronator is pronator teres. Now when we look see that side, we'll talk about it. The unique feature of this guy is only muscle of the arm that crosses three joints. What are the three joints? It crosses, so it crosses shoulder joint, crosses elbow joint, and crosses superior radioulnar joint. Then another unique feature about this guy is that rupture of each tendon leads to a condition called OPA deformity. OPA deformity, rupture of the tendon of bicep leads to a condition called OPA deformity. Then the next thing here about this guy is unique feature is remember this bicipital aponeurosis, we said it in the when we did cubital fossa. It's called grace of God tendon or praise bit of God fascia because it protects median nerve and brachial artery in the arm, in the cubital fossa. Or let's say from injection, as maybe when you want to give injection in the median cubital vein. So do you understand? You know, say either you say you separate median cubital vein and median cubital vein from above from median nerve and brachial artery in the what cubital fossa, or you just say it protects median nerve and brachial artery in the cubital fossa. So then the next thing about this guy, we call this guy screw muscle. You know, for you to supinate, it's actually a screwing process. So most times, they normally used to say, somebody, let's say a student has, there was inability to what? A student has inability to what? Open the padlock of his door. Which muscle is defective? You know, for you to what? Open the padlock, you have to what? Supinate. So the answer should be what? Biceps. Okay, I think we are done with biceps. Then the next one is remember the tendon of biceps is one of the contents of cubital fossa. My buttocks turns red. I mean, good. Okay, so biceps is gone. So let's look at brachialis. Brachialis. So brachialis origin insertion. This guy has three origin. One of the one is what? Lower anterior aspect of the lower half. Anterior aspect of the lower half. Anterior aspect of the lower half of the arm of the humerus. Anterior aspect of the lower half of the arm from here, anterior aspect of the lower half of the arm, and also this guy originates from lateral intermuscular septum and medial intermuscular septum. Do you understand? Then if you come to insertion, remember the other one, radial tuberosity is for what? Is for biceps. This then brachial is now ulnar tuberosity. Then nerve supply. Remember this guy is supply musculocutaneous nerve gave it C5, C6 fiber. The radial nerve gave it C7 fiber. This is a popular question. Okay, then action. Just the only action you just say is the main flexor, major flexor of the elbow. So when I say is the workhorse. So when I say is the workhorse of the what? The elbow joint. Then unique feature, nothing. Okay, so it's a hybrid muscle. So it's a hybrid muscle. The hybrid muscle of the arm. Then this guy, remember, it forms the floor of the cubital fossa together with the supinator. And also we see brachialis above superficial, then supinator deeply, floor of the cubital fossa. Okay, I think we are done with this guy. So let's look at the next muscle, which is coracobrachialis. Origin, you already know, is tip of what? Coracoid process. Tip of a coracoid process of the scapula. Then insertion is medial aspect of the mid shaft of the humerus. Then nerve supply, you already know is musculocutaneous nerve. Origin, insertion, nerve supply. Then action, you just say is a weak flex of the arm. A weak flex. So remember, it's the only muscle in the arterial compartment that didn't reach the what? The elbow. So it doesn't have any action on the elbow. So it's just a weak flex of the arm. Then unique feature. Then this muscle in lower in animal, this muscle has 3 heads. Because this guy has 3 heads in lower animal. Then the third head is regarded as muscle of the medial compartment. Remember, if you come to higher organism, we don't have medial compartment of the arm, we only have anterior and posterior. So that medial head in higher organism, in a higher organism like us, degenerates to form a ligament called Struther's ligament. Struther's ligament. So this ligament is just the degenerate tendon of a third head of a coracobrachialis in higher organism. Another thing about coracobrachialis you should know is remember musculocutaneous nerve passes between the 2 heads of coracobrachialis. We say it's in brachial plexus. Then the next thing about this coracobrachialis is that if you remember, it forms the lateral wall of the axilla. Lateral wall of the axilla. If you remember, we said that lateral wall of the axilla is BIC. Biceps, intertrabecular sulcus, and coracobrachialis. Then the next thing about these guys, one popular question normally is to ask events at the insertion of coracobrachialis. They can retwist the question to say, what are the events? You need to know them. Events at the mid shaft of the humerus. Mid shaft of the humerus. Events at the mid shaft of the humerus. So, at the mid shaft of the humerus. Okay, let's say for example now, let's say this is humerus. Let's say this is the mid shaft. Okay, let's say toward this side is lateral, then toward this side is medial. Then there's a muscle inserting here. So this muscle is coracobrachialis. Coracobrachialis. I say inserting. There is muscle inserting here still. This is deltoid. There is muscle originating from this anterior aspect of the mid half, or anterior aspect of the lower half. So this is brachialis muscle. Then you see radial groove at the back. So from this diagram, you can see 4 events already. Number 1 is what? Insertion of coracobrachialis at the medial aspect of the mid shaft. Insertion of deltoid at the lateral aspect of the mid shaft. Origin of brachialis from the lower anterior aspect of the lower half of the mid shaft. Then radial groove at the posterior aspect of the mid shaft. So we have seen 4. Then the 5th one is one of the most important. We say that medial nerve crosses brachial artery from lateral to medial. This is the most important event here. So before, when medial nerve was coming down, it was at the lateral aspect of what? It was lateral, yes, lateral aspect of the brachialis. At the mid shaft, now cross from the lateral aspect to the medial aspect. That is becoming medial to this muscle. If you remember, the arrangement of this structures in the cubital fossa from medial to lateral, the most medial is what? median nerve before what? Brachial. So that crossing was at the mid shaft. Then number 6, you say that um MIS LIS. This guy is pierced by superior ulnar collateral artery and ulnar nerve at the mid shaft. Then this guy is pierced by radial collateral artery and radial nerve at the mid shaft. So the piercing of medial intermuscular septum and lateral intermuscular septum occurred at the what? Occurred at the what? Mid shaft. Then number 8, origin of nutrient artery of the humerus from the humerus from the brachial artery is occur at the what? Mid shaft. Then number 9, you see that basilic vein pierced the deep fascia of the arm to continue as axillary vein at what? The mid shaft. So it pierced the deep fascia. Do you know this basilic vein that you see in cubital fossa here is a superficial vein, but when it reaches the mid shaft, it pierced the mid shaft. It pierced the deep fascia of the arm to continue as what? Axillary vein. Then number 10 is that medial cutaneous nerve of arm and medial cutaneous nerve of forearm. These two nerves, they were deeply before. They want to come and supply the superficial, that is superficial, that is they want to come and supply like this one now, the skin of the what? Lower medial one third of the skin, and that is anteromedial skin of the lower medial one third. This one want to come and supply the anteromedial skin of the forearm. So they pierce the deep fascia to come out superficial at that level. So the medial cutaneous nerve of arm and pierce the deep fascia of the arm to appear superficial for their innervation at the mid shaft. So these are the powerful events that occur at the level of mid shaft of what? Humerus. So you need to know them. Okay, I think we are done with coracobrachialis. Let's look at the last muscle. We're now with the movement of the medial compartment, anterior compartment. So let's look at the last one, which is what? Muscle of the posterior compartment, which is the triceps. So from the word triceps, you can see it has 3 heads, which are long head, lateral head, medial head. So this guy originates from infraglenoid tubercle. Then this guy originates, let's say this is the posterior aspect of the humerus. Let's say remember the radial groove is at the mid shaft. So the posterior aspect of the humerus, above the radial groove, above is lateral head, but below is medial head. Also, medial head originates again from MIS and LIS. So are you seeing that we have seen 2 muscles so far that originate from the both medial intermuscular septum and lateral intermuscular septum, which are medial head of triceps and brachialis. So medial head of the triceps originates from the posterior aspect of the humerus below the radial groove and also from lateral and medial intermuscular septum. Then lateral head of the triceps originates from the posterior aspect of the humerus above the radial groove. Okay, then insertion, all these 3 muscles, all these 3 heads unite to insert at the olecranon process of the ulna. Olecranon process of what? The ulna. Okay. Then we have done the origin, we have done the insertion, then the action. So nerve supply is radial nerve. Please, I want you to know that radial nerve supply these 3 heads, but it supply them individually. I want to know the nerve roots of the nerve fiber that radial nerve gave these muscles is C6 to C8. Please, is the exam question. So the nerve to triceps, the nerve root of nerve to triceps is C6 to C8. Same with that of what latissimus base. Then I want you to know that radial nerve supply these muscles, these heads individually. They supply long head and mid part of the medial head in the axilla, and now supply the lateral head and the remaining part of medial head in the what radial group. So that is why most times when there is a let's say damage of radial nerve in the what radial group, you see that there is no loss of what, there is no total loss of what, there is a extension of the what of the what the elbow, because median radial nerve have supplied the long head and part of the medial head in the what in the axilla. Okay, then if you know the origin, the insertion, the nerve supply, the action of triceps, nothing more but what extension of the what the elbow. Then unique feature. Um, we have unique feature. Okay, remember this tricep. Okay, so long head of triceps forms the lateral boundary of upper of a quadrangular space and lateral boundary of a lower triangular space. So this is okay. So it forms the um, lateral boundary of upper triangular space, then medial boundary of quadrangular space and medial boundary of lower triangular space. So let me recap. Look at this. It forms the what? Upper boundary. Sorry. For upper triangular space, what does it form? It forms the lateral boundary. Then for quadrangular space, it forms the medial boundary. Then for lower triangular space, it forms the medial boundary. So the medial boundary of this. So it forms the that means we form the medial boundary